When we think of the founding fathers of the United States, images of stoic men in powdered wigs and colonial coats often come to mind. Figures like George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and Benjamin Franklin are portrayed as almost mythological leaders who set the course for the country's future. But who were they really? What were their true beliefs, struggles, and motivations? Today, we'll take a closer look at these iconic figures and uncover the complexities of their lives. George Washington is undoubtedly one of the most revered founding fathers. Known for his leadership during the American Revolution, and as the first president of the United States, Washington was often viewed as a symbol of unity and strength. However, his legacy is not without contradictions. While he championed liberty, he was also a slave owner. Washington's personal conflict with slavery is evident in his gradual shift towards advocating for the institution's end, yet he never fully freed his enslaved people during his lifetime. Thomas Jefferson, the principal author of the Declaration of Independence, is another central figure in the American Revolution. His eloquent writing proclaimed the unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. However, Jefferson's personal life complicates his legacy. Like Washington, Jefferson was a slave owner, and his relationship with Sally Hemings, one of his slaves, has been a topic of historical debate. Jefferson's public ideals of equality were often at odds with his actions behind closed doors. Benjamin Franklin is often remembered as a polymath, an inventor, scientist, diplomat, and founding father. His role in securing French support during the American Revolution was instrumental to the success of the colonies. Franklin's personal life, however, reveals a man of contradictions. A vocal abolitionist later in life, Franklin was once a slave owner and even participated in the transatlantic slave trade. His transformation from a slave owner to an advocate for abolition shows the complexities of his moral evolution. John Adams, the second President of the United States, is perhaps best known for his fierce advocacy for independence. He played a crucial role in the Continental Congress and in negotiating the Treaty of Paris that ended the American Revolution. Adams was also known for his strong beliefs in democracy and liberty, but his support for the Alien and Sedition Acts, which suppressed free speech, highlights the tensions between his ideals and his political actions. James Madison, often called the father of the Constitution, helped shape the framework of the U.S. government. Madison was instrumental in drafting the Bill of Rights, ensuring individual freedoms were protected. However, Madison, like many of his contemporaries, was also a slave owner. His role in creating a government that allowed slavery to persist for decades reveals the deep contradictions in the early American political landscape. Alexander Hamilton, the first Secretary of the Treasury, is known for his central role in shaping the nation's financial system. Hamilton believed in a strong federal government and advocated for the creation of a national bank. His vision of America's future often put him at odds with Thomas Jefferson and other figures who favored a more agrarian society. Hamilton's personal story, including his humble beginnings and rise to power, has been romanticized, but his authoritarian tendencies are often overlooked in popular portrayals. John Jay, a key diplomat during the American Revolution, co-authored the Federalist Papers with Hamilton and Madison. Jay played a pivotal role in negotiating the Treaty of Paris and securing peace with Great Britain. While Jay is often remembered for his contributions to American diplomacy, he also held views that are controversial today. As the first Chief Justice of the United States, Jay took a strong stance on law and order, but his advocacy for slavery in the early years of the Republic shows a more complex side to his character. Samuel Adams, a leader in the Massachusetts colonial resistance and one of the architects of the American Revolution, is often seen as the firebrand of the Revolution. He was instrumental in organizing protests against British policies, including the Boston Tea Party. However, Adams was not always a consistent revolutionary. His political pragmatism sometimes led him to support policies that were at odds with his radical rhetoric, revealing the tensions between ideology and political reality. Patrick Henry, famous for his declaration "Give me liberty, or give me death," was a passionate advocate for independence. He was a vocal critic of British rule and a strong supporter of states' rights. Yet, Henry's legacy is complicated by his opposition to the U.S. Constitution. He believed that the Constitution granted too much power to the federal government, and his opposition reveals the deep divisions over the balance of power in the early republic. The Founding Fathers were also shaped by the world they lived in, a world that was often divided by race, class, and gender. Many of these men came from privileged backgrounds and were able to pursue their revolutionary ideals because of the wealth and status they inherited. However, the majority of Americans, particularly women, Native Americans, and enslaved people, were excluded from the promises of freedom and equality enshrined in the Constitution. The Founding Fathers may have been revolutionary in many ways, but they were not universal champions of liberty. It is also important to recognize that the Founding Fathers were not a homogeneous group. While many shared similar ideals about liberty and governance, they had different visions for what America should become. Some, like Hamilton, sought a powerful central government, while others, like Jefferson, believed in states' rights and agrarianism. These differences were at the heart of many of the political battles that defined the early years of the United States. In conclusion, the Founding Fathers were complex men who embodied the contradictions of their time. They fought for liberty and equality, yet they owned slaves and excluded large portions of the population from those freedoms. Their ideas about governance were revolutionary, but their actions often reflected the limitations of their own beliefs and the societal structures of the 18th century. Understanding who they were, beyond the myths and legends, helps us better appreciate both their accomplishments and their flaws.